As we've been saying, a lot of people have been talking about it, even on the news, although I've seen some, at least last year, some analyses saying that it looked like Fox News was talking about it more than CNN and MSNBC. Probably, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say not in a productive way. So how have you felt, how have you reacted to the sort of strike back against the Green New Deal, the way the right has been talking about it, some of the misinformation that's been spread?
This is a really concerning issue, I think, for everyone on the left side of the aisle. For so long, the debate on climate change was defined by, belief or disbelief. You had one side that was saying the science is real, and another side that was effectively tinfoil hat people who are saying, this is all fake. And unfortunately, that means that the folks who are supposed to be advocates on this, the Democratic Party, the left side of the aisle, were able to get away with simply just saying, oh yeah, we believe the science. And that was kind of where the conversation ended. We never got into more detail about what this could look like. And so I think that we as experts and advocates, as people who are more engaged in politics, who go into the media and talk about these things, have a real responsibility to educate the public about what climate action could look like and how it could benefit the economy, how it could benefit everyday people like you and me, how it's going to produce jobs, all of that sort of stuff. And I think that we are now into that stage of the conversation, the debate, where there are going to be an understanding of differences between different approaches to climate change, and a huge role that the Green New Deal has played and can continue to play is in sort of driving a positive conversation about what decarbonization, what mitigation, and what adaptation to a warming planet might look like. But a huge part of that is also going to be fighting back right-wing propaganda. There's a huge business interest in this country in describing anything that aims to rein in emissions as Venezuela-style socialism, as an attack on the American way of life. And part of our role on the left side of the aisle, on people who produce policy about this, is to refute those lies.
And I'm curious too. I know that you're obviously coming into this from the point of view of helping to craft the policy, wanting to see it through. It's looking like going forward, and you pointed out we don't have much time, that for the next 4 years, one of 3 people it's looking like is going to be in charge of whatever our response to the climate crisis is. It's either going to be Donald Trump, Bernie Sanders, or Joe Biden. What do you think about those 3 possible futures when it comes to what might happen with the Green New Deal?
So there's only of those candidates one who has endorsed the Green New Deal, and that is, of course, Senator Sanders. He has a $16 trillion climate plan that aims to produce immense amounts of jobs, to rein in emissions, and to really remake the infrastructure of this country into clean and green infrastructure. So I would say that Senator Sanders has the best and most ambitious approach to the challenge. On the other end, of course, Donald Trump, until very recently, was describing climate change as, quote, a hoax invented by the Chinese. So I think that we know what's in store in a Trump presidency. I think it's probably more attacks on science, more denial of the problem. And that really effectively just means that we dig ourselves deeper and deeper into a quite apocalyptic hole. Because this issue, unlike other issues, isn't just one where it festers over time and it remains the same in 2024 as it is in 2021. No, in fact, actually, the longer we take to rein in emissions, the graver the future is, and the present is going to be for all of us. So that's a big consideration. I would say that Joe Biden, he, to his credit, put forward a fairly comprehensive climate plan, actually, after being pretty roundly criticized by groups, including the Sunrise Movement. It was a weak point for him early on in the primary that he tried to correct for. My biggest concern is that Biden is a little bit too close to some of the fossil fuel corporations and interests. And that unlike Senator Sanders, he would be, I think, unwilling to take on some of those more vested big oil money in our politics. And my personal view is that in the same way that if you wanted, healthcare reform, there's no way to do that without taking on big pharma. If you want climate policy, if you want climate action, and certainly if you want a Green New Deal, there's really no way to do that without taking on big oil.
I am right there with you on that. Julian Neustadt, thank you so much for joining us on the show today.
Thanks so much for having me.
For more political news breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/thedamagereport. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.